Please give it up for Mr. Chris Horner. He's coming. Look at that. He's like on the trainer in the back. He's hanging out. Chris, you're on, baby. That great introduction. Okay. Three-time national champion, Chris Horner. Hi, Chris. Bob Babbitt. Good to see you.
Nice to talk to you again.
Pleasure. You got the stools here. And
yeah. Oh, they got some good pictures up.
I know. All right.
So I was telling these guys Thursday night would have been prime time, but
we decided to compete with the football game instead. Probably not a genius marketing.
Yeah. Oh, you gonna turn that guy off? Yeah, there you go. Well, this is nice having our own little intimate thing.
Absolutely.
It works out really well. So, Chris, take us for a lot of our folks who don't know everything and anything about your career. Take us back to as a kid. What were the other sports you were into, and when did cycling come into your life?
Well, I did some baseball, stuff like that, Pee Wee League, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
A little bit of wrestling in school, and then cycling took over pretty much when I was about 13. So when I was in high school, I was kind of starting to do just starting to kind of go into wrestling and stuff, and then I faded out of that and went into cycling full time. Started working at a bike shop that was actually not far from this one where I worked 9 years at there. Yeah, House Bike Center. For all the
there you go.
Yeah, for anybody that's been there for a long time. Yeah, there's a little Bike USA shirt on right there, yep. And so, you know, that shop was there, and I worked there for a long time when it was House Bike Center, was independently owned and stuff. And from there, I started doing all the group rides around here. Used to have the Banana Gang ride. I grew up, went to elementary school, middle school, high school just down the street from here in Terra Santa over by 15 and 52. And moving back there too, actually.
Are you really? Wait a second.
Yeah.
What happened to Ben?
Well, I keep a house. I'll keep a house in both. But my girlfriend started law school here at USD. Okay. So I told her if we're coming back to San Diego, I want to move back to my hood.
Good idea.
And if you can call it that, I don't know if it quite qualifies for the hood, but so yeah, so we just bought a place down in Terra Santa, assuming everything closes good. But San Diego's treated me really good, and since my girl was starting law school, I was like, let's shoot to try to get in law school in San Diego, so I can come back to San Diego and come back here. The training's perfect. I'm always back here during the winter time, anyways.
So high school, you're riding, and I'm assuming competing at the different events around town.
Yep.
When did you feel that, you know what, I think I can make a living at this?
Well, of course, when you're 15, 16, 17, you're just riding your bike for fun. And even at that age, too, you don't really think about, hey, I could be a professional. Right. And then, in all honesty, at that age, you don't even realize that professional cyclists really exist.
Right.
Right. You slowly start realizing that, if you go over to Europe, you can make a living at it. And you don't really think about making a living at it in the States until you just kind of fall into it. And I did a little bit of racing when I was 15 over at the track, and San Diego tracks with one of the local clubs, Cabrillo Cycling Club. Okay. And from that, I changed clubs and became a SDBC rider for a short time. And after that, I became a Swami's rider. And Swami's rider was putting together a good local Cat 1, Cat 2 team that all the guys were traveling to the races. It made a lot of sense to switch over and race with those guys. And from there, when I was starting to get out of high school, I started realizing that it was enjoyable. But it wasn't until I was 19, 20 that I realized that, oh, wow, I think I'm going to try to go pro.
Did you have another career path? Were you going to school? No, it wasn't like, okay, I'm going to go be an engineer, I'm going to be a dad, none of that stuff.
No, it was actually when I was going through high school, you come to graduation and all that stuff, and of course everyone's running around, sign my yearbook, and everyone's talking about what college you're going to, and they just automatically were like, what college are you going to? I'm like, I'm not going to college. It wasn't anything I wanted to do was to go to college, and still at that point in time, I wasn't planning on being a professional cyclist, but I was planning on doing something other than college.
Yes, and you just wanted to basically take a little time. So out of high school, racing bikes, or were you sort of traveling?
Well, out of high school, I was working full-time, more or less, at the bike shop a little bit, but then I started doing construction work. And when I was 19, I was doing some construction, and that was really good. Making good money, working hard, but making good money. But the problem with construction, if anyone knows it, it's really feast or famine. You're working 7 days a week, sunrise to sunset, and everything's got to get done. It's got to get done. It's got to get done. And then it gets done, and there's nothing else to do.
Right.
And there's nothing else to do for a pretty good period of time.
It could be a month, could be 2 months, could be 3 months. Yeah.
Well, it reached like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and I was no problem. I made good money during the time I was doing it. So I was just riding my bike every day and riding it, and I'd call up the head contractor guy occasionally because I was just doing layouts. So it was just one guy was the head guy, and he hired me and one other guy to do the plating and stuff. So there's just a 3-man job, and I call him up every once in a while. Hey, you got any work? Got any work? And you never have any work. And then finally, after about a month, 5 weeks or so, I just noticed I was getting really fast, and the season was getting ready to start again. And so I called him up a little bit after 5 weeks and said, I think I got to try to go pro.
Just like that.
Yeah.
I mean, but had somebody from one of the teams said, you know what, you should go pro, or you
no,
could just tell from racing the guys.
I could just even when I first started riding the group rides and doing the Banana Gang ride and all that stuff, I noticed there was a little bit of talent there because you'd be in a group of guys that 5, 10, 15 guys out of a group of 50 that whittled down on the climb, and these guys are Cat 1s and even a couple pros around, and I'm 15, 16, 17 years old and still with that group. Right. So there was I knew I had a little bit of talent there, but it wasn't until you actually started racing and winning that you were really thinking about it.
And what was was there one win that sort of catapulted you to where a team signed you, or what was the breakdown?
No.
It's just sort of a series?
I tried multiple times getting on a pro team, but never had any offers. And so in 95, I just turned pro, because in 95, you could just turn pro. Anyone sitting here, anyone out on the street, anybody could turn pro. You paid $150, you got your pro license. A little bit different situation now. You can't really do that. You got to upgrade a little bit. You got to get put on a team and stuff like that. But then you paid $150. Someone handed you a pro license. You went off and raced. And so I couldn't get the pro ride, so I just bought my own pro license. And in the States, they used to have 5, 6 really big pro races with good money, like the USPRO Championships, Core States. Yeah. They had that. They had 2 races before that. They had the Thrift Drug Classic, which was in Pittsburgh. Really good, hard course with a hard climb.
Kmart race and
Kmart, West Virginia. They had. I didn't get to do that because that's where you'd have to be more with a team. But the individual races.
So you could go as a pro. You're a pro. You can go race Core States.
I did Athens Twilight. I turned pro the moment the race finished. Raced the next day at First Union Grand Prix, which was like a $100,000 race, which was big money back in the day.
Oh, big time.
After that, I did Thrift Drug. And then I went and did the Philly Series races. And so in 96, they had Olympics in 96, and the team, NutraFig, which was the team I was riding for, decided that they would have the majority of the team was going to turn pro. A couple guys stayed amateur, like Thurlow Rogers, who's a fantastic rider, still racing his bike, still winning multiple national championships and that kind of stuff. But we had a really good above local average racing team, and so a bunch of us turned professional. And in 96, I started to win in a bunch of races, and so come after that, someone had to hire me.
What was your first paycheck?
First paycheck was from Française de Jeux, European team. I was doing a race 96 Super Week. One of the new directors on the team, Alain Galopin, was there with another rider, Lars Michelsen, getting ready to do the Atlanta Olympics. And so he asked me if I was interested in racing in Europe. And he comes to the team van, and I get a lot of people coming up to team van saying, hi, how's it going? And this guy comes up. He doesn't speak much English. It's really broken down English into French and mixing the two. And he introduces himself as Alain Galopin, but I can't quite understand what he's saying. So it takes me like 5 times of just going, what? What's your name? and finally, he gets it through to me who he is, and that he's hired on for the following year, a brand new team, Française de Jeux, which is sponsored by the French lottery, and they're going to have top 10 team in the world. And so I'm sitting in the I just got done getting changed. I'm sitting in the van, not the bus. We didn't have buses in the van.
This is before.
And this guy's like, I want you on my team. We got a top 6 team in the world and stuff. I want you there. And I'm like, never even heard of this team. And so, of course, you haven't because it's all brand new. And so I went and found Lars Michelsen, who's a friend of mine that I'd known from racing before that. And he said, oh, yeah, he's got a big team going together, and it's going to be really good. So if you get a shot to go on there, go ahead and do it.